Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with a brand new series on our channel here. This is going to be a series playing off of the Treble series that AirJapes has started on his channel. He is going to be doing his series with Portsmouth, but I decided to do mine with Accrington Stanley. Couple reasons for that. One being, in the past I have done series with Accrington Stanley because there's a lot of history behind the team. It's a team that never seems to die is their motto. It's the team that won't die. So smallest team in England, overall money wise, strength of squad wise, all of the above. They're a team with a good story, and it's something that I definitely wanted to look at coming into this series. The I guess big difference starting off this series, one, I'm going to be starting with a lesser strengthened squad and a team with less money, so I am going to be playing in a preseason tournament to try to get in a little bit more transfer funds for the beginning of this series. I am going to be doing it the same way though. The goal of the series is to win the treble with my squad, from purely just simulating games. So regardless of what cup game, how big of the league game is, we're going to be simulating it all and just seeing how long it takes us to take this squad, this bare bones squad, and instead of transferring in players, we're going to be building from our youth squad, building from our youth scouts. So obviously the first scout that we're looking for needs to be as high caliber as possible. I know Japes was going after a 5-star. I don't think that was going to be possible for me. Starting off with a transfer budget that was around $1 million, I didn't really have the opportunity to sell on any players to get about $4 million in the bank for me to actually bring in a world-class scout. I am going to be following his rules again, however, with the scouting a future star. I'm going to be using it once this season and once next season, and just trying to bring in some really overly talented players, that'll help build the squad just that little bit faster. Here, as you guys are going to be seeing, I'm just kind of going through these preseason matches pretty quickly here. We do end up winning the first one, losing the second one, so keeping us in a good spot nonetheless. We get an offer here for McCartan. Wickham coming at us with a little bit of money for McCartan. He's not really a player that I was personally going to play with. In the past, when I've done career modes with Accrington Stanley, they were really nothing that he wasn't anything to write home about, right? He wasn't a player that I was incredibly impressed with, but he was a player that is worth a good bit in the squad. So I went ahead and sold him on. And we go through, and I'm showing you guys here, the other players that I wanted to put up on the transfer list to try to bring in that little bit more money. I keep checking throughout this episode. I kind of leave it out because it wasn't really that interesting, but I do go and look for a scout ever so often. But, you have to keep checking back week by week, just trying to figure out if there's a scout out there for you. As you guys see, we do win the third game of our league, or not our league matches, but our preseason matches. So that does put us in the semi-final of the preseason cup, putting us in a good spot. You see Wickham comes back, says they'll pay $400K for McCartan, so I'm like, okay, you know what, that's fine. 59 overall, younger striker. Honestly, could I have kept him in the squad? Yes. Should I have kept him in the squad? I don't really know, in all honesty. He wasn't really that strong of a player, like I said. Coming into the semifinal here, definitely wanted to win this game for sure. I wasn't planning on winning the final. I picked this specific preseason tournament because I believe it gave me the best chance in getting the most money out of it. It wasn't the one that was going to give me the most money if I won, but I think it was the best chance I had in winning. So as you guys see here, tie 2-2, goes to penalties. We do win penalties 3-4. So we go ahead and move our way into the finale. So coming into the final of the Continental Shield, Hercules, Hercules, I guess is how you would pronounce that. We come up against them, strong squad all the way around. Like I said, knew from the start I wasn't going to win this game. Kind of wish I would have done better in this game. Not that it really mattered in terms of, it's not like it was going to give me any more money for losing by 2 instead of 3, but it would have helped the squad because we were playing well throughout the preseason tournament, but to lose that last game in the fashion we did put all of my players in bad form to start off the beginning of the season. So in that way, I kind of wish I would have played like a completely weak squad that I had no intention on playing. You guys see here, a 5-star for me would have cost 4.3 million, and that's just not realistic in my transfer budget to actually pull off. I think I'd have to sell literally my entire team just to get that squad youth scout into the squad. So that wasn't realistic. We do end up getting back our future star player. Definitely a good center defensive mid in the making. I thought it was a little funny that that I ended up getting the center defensive mid as well as AirJapes did with his Portsmouth series. Obviously, like he said, definitely wish it was a striker because they're the most effective. They're the ones who are going to give me the most goals. They're going to be able to put the team on their back as much as possible. So a little disappointing to not get that player in. I also end up getting a 15-year-old, which means I'm not going to be able to use him this season unless off of some I guess sick luck he ends up turning 16 in the middle of the season, but I just don't see it happening. So we do end up getting a 15-year-old. He looks like he's going to be a great player. As you guys see, our first game of the season, we do end up losing 3-1. Really disappointed. Was able to get 1 goal out of the game, so I guess that's good. Crooks ends up picking up an injury in the game, but it's nothing serious. I think he was only going to be out for about a day anyways, so nothing too worried there. You see, we're going to go ahead and train my youth star as much as possible. All 5 slots are going to go to him. We want to make sure we get his overall up as much as possible before he ends up turning 16, so we can sign him to that pro contract and get him into the squad as fast as possible with the best rating he can possibly have. You guys are going to see, just to start off the season, my team is in shambles. There's nobody in really good form. Everybody's in decent form or complete and utter crappy form. So that puts me automatically in a really bad place in the league, right? Coming up into this next game, it is a cup game, I want to say. It's the first game of the Capital One Cup. We're playing Brighton. So I played a bit of a weaker squad. A little controversial whether or not I should have done that. Looking back on it now, I think I probably should have played my stronger team in this game and the weaker team in the league, because the board only wants me to not come in last this season, which is easy to do, but then they also wanted me to get at least to top 32 in the cup. Now, do I really see myself getting sacked if I don't come up to the leagues, or not the league standard, but the cup standard? Not really. As long as I can get in like a mid-table kind of obscurity area, I think I'll be able to do well with the board. I think they'll be happy with me, at least for this first season, while I'm still trying to figure everything out with the squad. But the more cup games you win, the more money you bring in, the more money you're allowed to use, and more money available to your arsenal to kind of build a squad and build the youth scouts and everything like that. So in hindsight, I think I should have taken it a little more serious. We do change up the formation a little bit because the holding that way I was playing wasn't working for me, as you guys saw. So we go ahead and try to move into a more attacking position and hopefully to pull out more goals. We do have that center attacking mid, and Gornell, ends up getting us a goal here. So the formation, I think, was working well. Windass in that center attacking mid position definitely gives us more of an attacking shape into the team, and I think it honestly puts us at a better advantage to score more goals. but at the same time our defense is struggling so much that pushing my midfielders up higher I'm not entirely sure is the best decision. So I'm still trying to play around a little bit with the formation to try to figure out what is going to work best for my squad. I am going to be flying through these games a little bit, as you guys are going to see, and that's really going to be the theme of the first couple seasons here. You know, this episode I just wanted to get through the transfer window and get through to the point where I ended up signing my youth squad scout. So I cover a good amount of time just in this one episode, and then in the next episode I honestly plan on covering half of the season. I'm going to cover the first half of the season, and then the third episode will probably cover the transfer window, the winter transfer window, and then the next episode will cover that second half of the season. Then we're going to move straight on to the next season. I want to try to get through these episodes as fast as possible so that we can get into the interesting stuff, get into where I actually start getting promoted out of League 2 into League 1 and then into the Championship, into the Premier League, and work our way up, building our squad as fast as possible. Because as of right now, I'm kind of just playing with the squad that was given to me, not the squad that I want to build. So I want to try to get to that point as fast as possible. You know, it's a little more difficult whenever you're building your squad from within instead of trying to bring in players from the outside. So to start off the season here, it's a little disappointing how we're playing. Gornell is going to end up leaving the squad. Northampton comes in and says, you know, here, I'll give you 250K for this player, and I honestly needed it because I was trying to bring the scout in. I needed as much money as possible, so I go ahead and send him out and bring in Key to start at that striker position for the squad. He ends up playing really well for me. You're not really going to see it in this game, but Key ends up getting himself into positions to score more so than Gornell was. Gornell was playing really well for me, but at the same time was not a revelation. He wasn't scoring goals to the point where I felt like I needed to keep him in the squad. So I'll go ahead and let Key come into the squad. So, you know, this formation's working well for me. I end up getting a win and then a draw. It's looking like my defense is playing a little bit better. My offense is not really too strong, but not too weak either. So I'm kind of in a good spot with this 4-3-3, at least I think, right? So everybody in the world seems to want my center defensive mid Connolly, but not for his asking price. Every time I try to put something up for him, nobody wanted him until I finally got an offer during the transfer window for $200,000 for Connolly. I'm like, okay, let me just get rid of this player here. So I go ahead and send him out. He's gone. I bring in 200K, which is going to allow me to sign a scout here pretty soon. Coming into the Luton Town game, my squad was a little bit in shambles. You know, I'm trying to figure out who's playing where. This is the first time that this formation isn't going to work out for me, as you guys are going to see. Windass was playing well in that center attacking mid position, but he's really not that strong of a player, to be honest. And I think that comes down to the fact that when you're simulating games, obviously it's just the computer controlling everything. And whenever your defense and your center defensive mids are struggling, your center attacking mid is going to come back and defend. And I don't think that he's getting back and forth strong enough to actually be in that position, which is why I think I need to come back more into a defensive role and have a center mid instead of a center attacking mid. So here we are coming up against Portsmouth, Japes' team. Can I pull out a win here? I really hope so, you know. Not because it's Japes' team or anything like that, because obviously there's differences in this squad than in the squad that Japes has, even after only one episode. But it's a good mid-table game to watch out for, to show the strength in the squad, show me who's playing well and who I need to keep in the squad, who I need to take out of the squad, right? So we do pull out a 1-0 win. Mingola ends up getting the goal. You guys are going to see here I do sign my first scout, Josh Tushy. or Tuhoy rather. Completely mispronounced his name the first time, but scout from England, so I do go ahead and send him into England for 9 months looking for any type of player. I just want to find the best player possible. You know, he has 3-star experience but 4-star judgment, and in the past I've found that if you put your scout in the country that they originate from, it turns out better players. It turns out more well-developed players, stronger players. So they seem to know their country better, which is understandable and completely it makes sense. So we do send him out to England, hoping for the best out there. Coming up against Exeter, we pull a 1-0 lead off of a penalty from Windass. I think I need to go in and actually set who my PK taker is. You guys aren't going to see it in this episode, but in the future there's a lot of penalties that are missed. I've noticed whenever you're simulating games, there's just a lot of penalties being taken altogether. Our youth player is growing very well. He's already at 58 overall, and you guys are going to see throughout this entire series he's going to be growing like crazy, which is really exciting me in thinking that, you know, he's a really good player for the future. To end out this episode, we've played 7 games, 8 points at this point of the series. So, you know, good things are coming out of the squad right now, and I'm really excited for the future. So make sure you like, comment, and subscribe on the video, and until then, I'll see you guys later.